I'm back. So let's go. We're back and we got everything running. So, okay, back to the question of Olga. Let's see that problem. I understand that there is a problem. Let's see how really consequential it is and what can one do when that happens. It's like part of life. So let's see. So you have some couple of scenes that are not the same size as the whole project, or the whole project is a mess. Let's have a look. So far, the song is like this. Let me go to the ending. I guess here. Yeah, it's all correct. There is no problems here. Poño, I'll load the reference track. It sounds good. Yeah. Let me put reference mix here and see what's up. I mean, the reason why I want to see this, it's longer. Yeah, you're right. It's longer. The reason why I want to see this is because it's also a learning. It's also a learning. Okay, like this was a mistake or whatever, but it's also a learning to see what can we do when this happens. Like, can we do something about it or not? It was sounding okay. Yeah, let's see. But I mean, what happens here? Now we're just hearing this. This is we're hearing the reference track. So let me just listen here. And where is that coming from? It's from here. Yeah, it's just weird, but it works. Yeah, it works. It's weird, but it works. So no, they're not warped. It can be that just the reference mix is just different, like, which would be terrible. But yeah, anyways, there is a problem, but yeah, it's all there. Yeah, it seems like it's fine, guys. I understand that there's a disconnect between the reference track and this. I understand, and I understand it's not comfortable to work with this multi-track because of it's not the same size. It's just like, yeah, it's all there. Like, I know the song quite well. It's all there. Look, like, okay, let's say that I would have find this problem in my own works, and this is happening to me, and what would I do? I mean, now that we're here and we're discussing this and we're discussing this homework, and I think it's cool that you guys are getting a bit of an idea of how to fix a problem like this. So look at this triangle here and where it ends. Like, you need to find a pattern. You see, like, this triangle is happening in the reference track through too. So where does this triangle ends, or where does it starts? Better said. So there seems to be something like, for example, this thing had a added intro or something, like the intro is longer or something like that. It's a mistake. I'm not defending it at all. I'm just saying, what would I do if this is happening? Yeah.
Leo, can you please show the screen?
Sure, that would be useful, right? I mean, I thought that you guys had telekinesis or something, that you could see what my eyes are seeing or something like that. No, doesn't work. Sorry.
Nah, bro.
No, bro. Nah, shit. What are you guys learning in school? So okay, I was saying like this multi-track is obviously like not great, because usually it's great when it's like just full sized and everything is the same size and it's very clear and the reference track. So I'm not saying like, hey, look, this was okay. I'm now telling you like, if I would have a problem like this in the wild, like what could I do? Your reaction is the correct one, because it's the normal thing is to expect when you see a multi-track like this to expect that there is a problem. But in this particular case, there isn't. It's just like the reference track maybe has like an added loop in the intro or something. Like it's just slightly different, or it was done in another moment. So what would I do? Find a pattern, you know, of something that I can kind of connect with. So I was showing you this triangle here that starts here and ends here, and also let's see the very end of the song. Like, so you see, like there is this tail here, like, and then the song kind of ends here too, and so now it's sort of aligned. Now they're super aligned, and the problem was like, I guess that I created an extra intro like thing. I guess like it's very weird. It's very weird, but okay. Anyways, I'm gonna, in just in case, I'm gonna put a second multi-track there in case anybody wants to redo this or felt that it was shitty or whatever, or you want to do it again, or you haven't done it, and because there's a lot of people that haven't done it yet. So download these files from the stem of mixing. So option 1 and option 2. Okay, and then if you haven't done it, you can choose option 2 if this confuses you. And I'm gonna put you there. This like I mean, we will work with this song later as well. It's a recording of my holiday in Gorky Park that we did once, like a long time ago. So you have a second option there. Great. So sorry for that. I guess that I don't want to copy. I just want to share the link. Yeah, here we go. So I'm gonna put this there. Failed to publish my holiday. Like, come on, guys. Like, really? It's like, why? It can be because of the stupid VPN. It's like, I mean, right now we're in this like limbo, which is like some companies hate VPN, some you need, yeah, you see, it's because of that. So annoying. Like, yeah, can't reach Yandex with VPN. So whatever. I mean, I'll put the option here. My holiday Gorky Park will be uploaded later. Okay. Okay. So let's go to the material that I had prepared for today. Olga, is that clear? I'm sorry. I mean, I understand that it was not clear from the beginning, but it seems like you can work with that multi-track, no problem. That is correct. And yeah, that's it. And I will put the second option so you can kind of like investigate later. Okay. So once more, I was saying that I'm sorry that I'm kind of like in the stage of putting videos and stuff and slowing down a little bit our tempo. I do this not only for me, but also for you. I mean, I didn't want to bombard you with new material. Like, we're finishing the semester, and we're going to move on to the next semester. And in the next semester, we're going to have a lot of new stuff to discuss. So there is a great video about decibels that I want to see with you. It's 5 minutes. And if we're going to finish our semester somehow, it has to be refreshing decibels, because decibels is really never up. What's the name? A topic that we can discuss. Like, we can always discuss more about decibels. But of course, I mean, you get it, right? Like, YouTube player is not loading here. Because, yeah, I have to have a nightmare of a session today. It's just like how it's supposed to be. Let me see if I can see it from YouTube straight. It seems like maybe yes. So let me see here. Decibels is audio. Decibels, Audio Engineering University, I think it's called like that. Yeah, here it is. So, yeah, the Audio University. So we're back to our friend here.
In this video, you'll learn everything you probably need to know
Yeah.
about decibels. The first thing you should know.
Yeah, we will be skipping and commenting. Okay, I want to talk about this. So what we're gonna talk about now that we have had this messy lecture and everything is a mess, I wanted to discuss Dave Pensado's second year training video that we saw only half of them last week, and I wanted to discuss a guy called Fab Dupont. Again, like, we start with looking at his work, and we're gonna see it later, and a couple of things about him. And I wanted to open one of the tasks that I had given to you and to kind of show you a couple of principles of frequency identification and finding problems and all of that. So that was my goal of today, but I am off to a rough start, and let's see where I can get in this situation. Do you understand what that means? I mean, I want to have a discussion about all of this. Anybody, online or here? Decibels are ratios. What does it mean?
You make a sound for stream.
Yes, yes. You should have it already, to be honest, but I'll have a look. So what does it mean? Decibels are ratios. Yeah, it's not there, bro. You're right. Now it's gonna be there. So the first question is, what does it mean decibels are ratios? Here, ratios. Nope.
It's like some kind of balance between the real sound and the sound that we get in the end.
Vera was saying something. Just a second, brother. Go ahead. I think the easiest way is to say, like, let me grab to see what Roma wanted to say. Let me, by the way, Vera, you said something that, like, Adna. Vera said that ratio is соотношение, да? And Roma, what did you want to say, brother?
I want to say that it's mean ratio between the sound, like the origin sound, and the sound that we get when we listen to it.
Okay,
Like
you're getting
like you have this natural sound of electricity, or I don't know, and decibels is kind of ratio between this real sound and the sound that we get in the end.
okay. Like you're both like aiming towards the right place, but I'm gonna help you a bit there. Like, I mean, first, a ratio means a relationship between two quantities. So yeah, and you see it has the word отношение in there, like relationship, so quantities. So for example, in this room right now, there are 3 females and 2 males. So yeah, there's 3 females and 2 males in this room. So you can say like the ratio female versus male here is whatever, like it's you need to grab 2 and divide it by 3. So it's like, I don't know, for every male that there is like 1.1 female or something, like a female and a leg of a female or something like that. So you're establishing a relationship between 2 quantities, males and females in this room. Like, so ratios are relationship between 2 quantities, and decibels are relationships in between 2 quantities. So what are those quantities? Like a reference value, quantity 1, TT1 is a reference value, and quantity 2 is your actual value right now. Right now. So Leo's voice right now, it's not, when you say the amount of decibels of Leo's voice, you're not saying how loud is Leo's voice, you're saying how many times Leo's voice is louder than something. When you say 10 decibels, you're not saying like Leo's voice is 10 decibels. You're just saying Leo's voice is 10 trillion times louder than the flapping of a mosquito wing. So that's what it means decibels are ratios.
Which allows simple numbers to express values that would normally require many more digits.
So you see, like, it's one number that tells you a lot of things that usually you would need a lot more other things in order to describe that. Like, again, 10 doesn't mean 10 alone. It's kind of like I tell you, I have 10 apples. I'm not telling you I have not so much arbuz. You see, like when I tell you I have 10 apples. But I could maybe express a number which would be a ratio between apples and arbuz. And I tell you number 4, and you're like, wow, you have so little arbuz. And it's like, how did you reach to that conclusion? Well, because the concept of the number contains that information inside of it.
That's one reason why the decibel is so commonly used to describe sound pressure. Humans are capable of perceiving a vast range of sound pressure changes from subtle to extreme, which makes discussing audio levels very challenging. The Pascal is a unit that describes air pressure.
So Pascals it's literally like, I mean, it's a unit that describes how much air is pushing something, literally. So I understand that we have discussed this is the last lecture of the semester, so we're just closing the semester. So I'm not shocking you with new information, but I think the way this video is structured and the visualizations that we have maybe will help you to solidify some ideas.
In terms of
So let's see this. Like we have sound pressure level in dBs and in Pascal. So I mean 100 Pascal, it's like a lot, and 0.0001 Pascal is like very little. And so like, I mean, I don't know, like a whisper of somebody, it would be like 0.01 Pascal, which it would be around 40 dBs. Like, I mean, this is like in dB SPL, remember. It's a different type of dB. There are different types of dB.
force per square meter. The limits of human perception of sound ranges from 20.
So to 20 micropascals to 20 pascals is how much humans can hear in pascals. Pascals are not a ratio. Pascal is just like, it's like kilogram or something. It's like a kilogram is not a ratio. It's just like this thing, it's like weighs that amount, you know.
Micropascals to 20 pascals. It's much easier to discuss.
Somebody wants to say something here?
Yeah. Is there any like connection between pascals and hertz?
Can you
Because
please, is there a connection between Pascal and Hertz?
because the 20 micropascals to 20 Pascal, it's like 20 microhertz to 20,000 hertz, like the sound range that we can hear.
Look,
No?
in here, no, yeah, but that's just a coincidence or not?
It's like this
Or is it?
coincidence, yeah?
But
Okay.
but your question is interesting because is there a relationship between pascals and decibels and I'm sorry, pascals and hertz? And the question is, there is nothing in this video or in this discussion that we're having today that has indicated you that has suggested you that. But we have discussed something called the Fletcher and Monson curves. Like we have discussed it a lot, which is like, hey, depending on the frequency, we will hear things quieter or louder. So that there is a connection there, but it's not in this discussion that we're having right now. And by the
Okay.
way, Olga, I read your comment there because I missed the text comments, and now when I went back here, I see if you try to listen to the solo track and then listen to the multitracks, it's different. Like I told you, I don't claim that this multitrack is perfect. It's normal that you had a question about it. I will put the second one, so there is an option and you can choose. Okay, and I guess I will extend that deadline to February 10th, so everybody has time to do it and it's all fair. Okay, so just in case I didn't ignore your message, I just seen it. So back to the discussion here.
Sound pressure in decibels.
So this is interesting. Like, so we have a table here, which is like sound pressure measured in Pascal. So the threshold of hearing is like under this, we will not hear it. And that's the basis of our decibel model. And then you have a rock band, which would be around 110 decibels. And then you see like a Carn horn is already touching something that is called the threshold of pain. I have told you this, like the best metal band ever. And this is like intensity. I think it's watts per meter square, if I'm not mistaken. That's what I'm seeing. And after 1 watts per meter square, you start feeling pain. So you have a jackhammer, jet engine, and jet engine at 10 meters. You know, like I mean, it's very different, of course. Jet engine at 100 meters, then jet engine at 10 meters. Like, I wanted to remind you, if you don't remember this, because I mentioned it once, and it's one of my favorite facts of the universe. I want to remind you that I have told this a million times, so I'm sorry. I know it's boring, but it's just crazy. It's just crazy. Like, if there were an atmosphere between us and the sun will sound at 120 decibels. So, I mean, the sun will sound, even though it's at 150 million kilometers away from us, the sun will sound like a Carn horn at a meter at you. So, I mean, I always, you know, I really believe that I can feel how big the sun is. I don't think that everybody can feel this. It's not easy to feel how big the sun is. Sometimes I have seen how it feels to be like at 1,000,000 kilometers away from the sun or something, and just looking at it, you will not see the edge above. Like, you will not be able to understand where it ends. Like, if you would see it from 1,000,000 kilometers, it's just so ridiculously huge and powerful. So, anyways. It's crazy. For me, this is crazy. So, okay, let's move on.
Rather than pascals, as you can see with this chart. Sound pressure is shown in pascals on the left compared to decibels on the right. Decibels represent these quantities in a way that is much easier for us to understand and interpret. Decibels also present changes in sound pressure on a logarithmic scale, which is more relevant to the way humans perceive loudness. In a linear scale, every step is the same size.
So now we're discussing the logarithmic versus the linear scale. We had this conversation at the beginning of the semester.
Example 10, 20, 30, 40, where each step is an addition of 10. In a logarithmic scale, each step has the same proportion. For example, 10, 100, 1000, 10,000, where each step is a multiplication of 10.
So in each step in the logarithmic scale, you multiply by 10. So 10 by 10, 100, 100 by 10, 1000, 1000 by 10, 10,000, and so on.
If you're like me, you're probably more accustomed to thinking in linear terms. For instance, doubling the number of steps taken will double the distance traveled. But this mode of thinking doesn't hold true for the way humans perceive loudness. Thinking in linear terms, you might suspect that twice the amplifier power produces a sound twice as loud.
We discussed this as well. Like it's like if you double the amplifier power of a output of an amplifier, will you get twice the loudness of something? Will you? I mean, the guy just said it, so I mean, I'm just kind of like trolling you there to see where your attention is. So no, it doesn't. Like if you double the amplifier of a sound, because we are not discussing in a linear way. We're not in a linear world. It's like he was saying, hey, if you double your steps, will you get twice as far? Yes. If you double the amplifiers, you don't get twice as loud. And like, why that is? Well, because we're operating in a different scale that is not the linear scale.
You might suspect that twice the amplifier power produces a sound twice as loud, which isn't the case. In reality, as sound pressure level increases, more and more power is required to produce the same perceived increase in loudness. The decibel accounts for this fact by presenting absolute values like the Pascal on a logarithmic scale. A decibel is a way of describing the ratio between two quantities.
So we already said this today. Like
when using a decibel, you'll always be comparing two values. Saying the drums are 120 decibels is an incomplete statement because the decibel alone has no value. You could instead say the drums are 20 decibels louder than the guitar, and this statement is more meaningful because it draws a comparison between the level of the drums and the level of the guitar. The level of the guitar in this case is the reference point. In the case of a fader on a mixing console, unity gain, or 0 dB, is the reference point.
This is going to be really important, and I'm sure that many of us don't have this clear. Like when you look at these mixers, like here, like you see, like you have a reference point, which is called unity gain, and then when you go down, you're 10 decibels below 0, or 5 decibels above 0. I know that sounds obvious, but even a person, I mean, at the level of training that I have and stuff, sometimes I kind of see it like, let me just turn this down to minus 10 decibels. And I'm not doing that. I'm just grabbing the value that was my reference unity gain, and I'm just going 10 decibels below that. So when you look at a mixer like this, now you know what's going on. Like when you're in 0, you're at the unity gain, and when you go under your unity gain, you're making the system make the signal quieter. Like that is so obvious. I understand that it's so obvious. So let me just restate it like this. Your question when you're measuring sound or manipulating sound is like, how loud was that originally? Like, how loud was that originally? Am I above that loudness? Or, well, let's use volume better. Like, what's the volume level that that thing had originally? Am I above it or below? And so faders are telling you something like that. When you're in 0, you're like, that's how the thing was originally before you manipulated it. And when you go to minus 10, you're grabbing the original thing and just reducing the intensity of it. Like, it sounds logical and sounds very stupid, but it's nuanced. It's really nuanced.
Point. Pushing the fader above 0 dB adds gain to the signal. Pulling the fader below 0 dB attenuates or...
And what I'm trying to say with this, like, when you reach 0, it's a moment, and it's really interesting. You need to make an action for the signal to be perceived as it was recorded. It's not like if you don't touch anything, the signal is how it was recorded. You need to drive your fader to 0, and then you're like, that's how the signal was originally.
Or reduces the signal. And decibel values above unity are positive, while decibel values below unity are negative. For many applications of the decibel, there are standardized reference points for defining 0 dB in absolute terms, and each one has its own suffix, dBm, dBu.
Yeah, so we discussed this clearly, and I'm really happy we're seeing it again. So there are different kinds of dBs depending on what's the reference. So you see, he's telling you what 0 dBs are. It's more clear than how I presented it to you at the beginning of the semester. It's like, in a 0 dB reference world, in a dBV world, when you are in 0, the output voltage is 1 volt. When you're in 0, it's 0.7075. This is the dBu. dBW is watts. So the 0 dBs is 1 watt. Like, for example, power amplifiers of a show, of a concert or something, of a live venue, they work in dBW. They don't work in, because what you care is about the power, like physical power output that is coming out of it. Then there is a dBm, which is like kind of like micro dBW kind of, dBSPL, and then there's dBVU, and there is dBFS, which is the one that we're used to and we're discussing.
dBSPL, and so on. This chart defines the 0 dB reference point for a few common audio applications. Let's take a closer look at two of the most common applications of the decibel in audio production: sound pressure level, measured in dBSPL, and digital audio metering, measured in dB full scale. 0 dB SPL represents the threshold of hearing.
Really nice little slide here. Like, I mean, these are, let's try to analyze this. We have dBs and we have frequencies, and again, this is the question that Roma asked in some form. You know, like outside of 20 hertz, 20 kilohertz, and below 20 hertz, there is nothing hearable. But then there is also a relationship, like between the sound pressure level and the frequency. This is really great chart, by the way. I'm totally gonna send it to me because this is really good. It's a really good way to see the Fletcher and Monson curves too. I have never seen this chart before. Like, what does it mean? Like, you see 5K around, you will perceive it even though we are kind of at, let's say, I'm trying to, yeah, in reference to the, this is dB, I'm gonna guess it's dBSPL. So around, I don't know how to even read this. Like, it's like around 1 decibel, you're already hearing something. Like when it's 5K, because it's human speech. Like, it's the best thing that we can hear. And then when you're in the low end, you see, like, you need to be playing something at 80 decibels in order to hear it. I really like this. It's really great way to visualize the frequencies we can listen and at what level we can listen to them. So, gotcha. Okay, so let's continue.
Or the quietest sound humans can hear. Therefore, we know that 80 dB SPL is 80 decibels louder than the quietest sound humans can hear. 0 dB FS, or full scale, refers to the maximum amount of bits in a digital system.
And remember, I told you this cool metaphor about Twitter and like what happens if you run out of characters in a tweet. You know, it's like, you see, 0 dB FS is the maximum use of bits that a digital system can run.
The highest level possible in a digital audio system is 0 dB FS. If a digital audio signal exceeds 0 dB full scale, digital clipping will occur. Thus, digital audio levels are negative numbers. Minus 12 dB full scale is 12 decibels lower than the maximum level possible in that digital system. In a moment, we'll learn to
But
make
you see, like, that's different than this console. You see, like, I'm telling you, with all honesty, I had this, like, mission in my head until not so long ago. It was like, wait, like, what's the difference between, I mean, how come this console has a 0, a minus, and a plus? And then how come I can operate at a plus? That was my question that I had about these consoles. Like, what is the meaning of operating at a plus? Like, why am I able to go to +5, and what's the meaning of that? So, you see, the console and the computer are talking very different worlds. It's like the console is kind of telling you, when you're in 0, this is how the signal was before we touch it. And the computer is telling you more like, if you go above this, I will run out of code. So there are very different numbers.
basic decibel calculations.
These are the formulas to calculate them. Like I mean, this is actually the dB, the formula of dBV. You see, it's a very simple formula. It's calculatable to us. It's kind of like voltage 2 over voltage 1. It's like, what's the voltage 1 is a reference voltage. What's the voltage 2 is the voltage that you have now. So I mean, we could theoretically measure something, and you have to multiply it by 20 for some reason. I mean, that's just because we don't know the math of it. But anyways, yeah, these formulas are there available.
Which will allow you to find the ratio in decibels between absolute units like volts, watts, or pascals. But the formula for decibel calculations will make a lot more sense if you first understand how the decibel relates to the bell.
Yeah, the bell is not like ding, you know, it's another unit of measurement that we haven't discussed here in this course at all. And it's attributed, I mean, it was invented by this guy called Graham Bell, the guy who invented the telephone. And
This is the formula for finding the ratio between two quantities in bells. Power 1 is the reference power, and power 2 is the measured power. This formula can be solved using a calculator with the log function. Let's try finding the ratio in bells between 10 watts and 100 watts. The formula would look like this. Dividing 100 by 10 gives
so this is going to give you the ratio between these two, like, I mean, the relationship between these two.
us the ratio between the power quantities, which is 10. Using the log function of the calculator, we can find that the ratio between 10 watts and 100 watts is 1 bell. Now that you know the formula used for calculating ratios in bells, let's adjust that formula to calculate ratios in decibels.
Deci?
For comparison,
Bells. That's why it's called. Yeah, that's why it's called decibels. Deci, bells.
let's find the ratio of the same two power quantities as before, 10 watts and 100 watts, this time in decibels. The formula looks like this.
Yeah, that's
to
why you
start,
multiply by
divide 100 by 10 to find the ratio, which is 10. Use a calculator to find the log of 10, which is 1. Multiply 1 by 10, which is 10. Therefore, the ratio between 10 watts and 100 watts is 10 decibels, or 1 bell.
10 decibels. You see, like, how can you interpret that? It's like, I mean, imagine that I had a system A and system B. The system A is the reference system. The system B is the system that I have now. If I have a relationship of 100 to 10, it means that for every 1 decibel that one of the systems is, let's say, experiencing, the other system was experiencing 10. So it's a ratio. That's what it means, a ratio. It's like a relationship between two quantities, right?
Hopefully you're beginning to see that the decibel isn't as confusing as it once seemed. For many, the most confusing aspect of using the decibel is deciding which formula to use in a given situation. The formula for decibels is 10 times the log of power 2 over power 1. In some situations, however, you might see this formula, 20 times the log of value 2 over value 1. Why are different formulas used? The decibel is always a power-related ratio. When calculating electrical or acoustical power levels, we use the basic decibel formula, 10 times the log of power 2 over power
So power ratios use this 10 formula.
1. The decibel can also be used to represent changes of non-power quantities. When calculating voltage and sound pressure levels, for example, we
20.
use this formula, 20 times log of value 2 over value 1. The reason we multiply by 20 is explained by the power equation. In this equation, W is power, E is voltage, and R is resistance.
This is what it's
Notice
gonna end
that
up-
voltage is squared in this equation. Power is proportional to voltage squared. This is why we multiply by 20 when finding decibels of voltage or other non-power values. Another way to come to the same answer would be to use this formula, squaring each voltage value before finding the ratio. Quantities that are not power must be made proportional to power. To recap, anytime you're comparing power quantities in decibels, multiply the Bell formula by 10. Anytime you're preparing non-power quantities in decibels, multiply the Bell formula
And I think we should like go into this math a little bit in the second semester, maybe just like and do this
by
formula
20.
ourselves. Like,
It's hard to give
very
a straight
simple.
answer when answering the question, how many decibels is
Okay, this is really important for us. Like doubling power, voltage, and pressure level. What is that?
Double.
How does it work?
That's because it depends on what is being doubled. As you just learned, non-power quantities must be made proportional to power in order to be represented in decibels. The decibel value to represent a doubling of power quantities is different from the decibel value to represent a doubling of non-power quantities. In the context of audio production, voltage and
Let me go
represent
back
a
to
doubling
this.
to
Let me
represent
just
proportion.
process
It
this a bit
depends on
better.
what is being doubled. As you just learned, non-power quantities must be made proportional to power in order to be represented in decibels. The decibel value to represent a doubling of power quantities is different from the decibel value to represent a doubling of non-power quantities. In the context of audio production, voltage and sound pressure are the most common non-power quantities. It's useful to remember the decibel value
Okay, let's have a look at this. Voltage, sound pressure level, 2 to 1. So yeah, this we discussed this, and this is a really nice. I'm actually gonna put these 2 slides in our presentation there, because this is a really nice and very useful chart for all of our lives. You know, like what does it mean to double something? Like in sound pressure level, it's 6 dBs. like when the ratio is 2:1, when the ratio is 10:1. Like, so I really don't understand that. Like, I'm gonna be honest. I really don't understand that. So wait a second. I understand that doubling 6 dBs means that I'm doubling the voltage. Sorry. It's just showing me. I get it. It's just showing me like what is doubling and what is doing it 10 times louder, or more energetic, I would say. So when you are a person who is operating a club and then you're thinking about doubling the power of the cloud output, you will think in 3 decibels because your decibel unit is different. When you're a person who is working with this little console here and you're just thinking, I mean, in the first case, you're thinking about how much electricity is coming out from an amplifier towards a speaker. In the second case, you're thinking about what should you do in a console. So when you're working in a console, you see like in order to double something, you push it 6 dBs. And when you're measuring things in air, it's the same as the console, like kind of. And this is a reflection of that 20 multiplied by and 10 multiplied by that we were discussing a minute ago in the formula.
For 2:1 and 10:1 changes in power.
So for us, 1 second on the question there. For us, all we care is really, I mean, all you guys should care about is this. And you know this already, we discussed it. Like if you're going to double something, you need to push it 6 dBs up. If you're going to make it twice as energetic as it was before. Tell me. Question number 9.
Sorry, I want to ask about the difference in this табличка. Why the ratio of sound pressure level and ratio of power is
Different?
No, it's not different. It's the same, like 2/1 and 2/1. From от чего это зависит? From what it depends?
He's showing you 2 cases there. He's showing you a case when you double and when you do 10 times more energetic.
Yeah, like you have 3 physical units, like power, sound pressure level, and voltage.
Yes, correct. And he's showing you 2 cases inside each physical unit.
So voltage and sound pressure level, they have like the same
Yes, the
ratio
same,
and the
yes,
same.
correct.
From what it depends?
Why? What I'm understanding from your question is why SPL and voltage are different to power.
Maybe like this, but I mean I want to understand why from what is from от чего зависит, from what depending the difference between like I don't know, power and sound pressure level.
Look,
for example.
in my I'm going to give you an answer that I'm not going to claim that it's perfect answer or that I'm 100% sure of this, but I think it's because of impedance. Impedance, сопотребление. Because the impedance of air and well, I mean, he mentioned it in the presentation that he was giving us. He mentioned it that it's connected to the formula of power, which was like, let me see it a bit back, and then we will figure it out. But I don't like to describe things in terms of like, look, the difference is because the formulas are different, because I'm not answering you the question. If you ask me a question like that and I answer like that, I'm not giving you an answer. I think it's because of the medium, again, like that you're operating, and also most likely, Bratan, it's about the reference value. So I think the answer is 3 things. Impedance. Impedance means the quality, the nature of the material that you're working with. Like, I mean, in one of them, you're talking about air. In another one, you're talking about electricity in a cable. In another, you're talking about electricity in a cable moving a speaker. So impedance is the nature of the material. It's like, for example, honey has a higher impedance than water, because if you're going to move a liter of honey with your hand, it's going to be harder than moving a liter of water. So you see, like the sound pressure level or SPL measurement is done in air, which has a certain impedance. Voltage is done in electricity, but it's electricity inside a cable moving from point A to point B. Power is about driving something like a car or a. So I mean, the first reason is impedance. The second reason I would say I mentioned. I mentioned 3 and I just lost 2 of them. Like I had impedance. The other reason was the reference value. I mean, I don't know what's the reference value here, and that's one of the reasons maybe what it gives me a different dB value here. And the third reason is because of the formula, but I don't like to use that explanation, but I'm going to put it there. The formula of the watt itself will produce that mathematical effects, but that formula is how it is because of the impedance, I think. I think the main reason is because of the impedance. Remember what I told you, it's different to move 1 liter of water than to move 1 liter of honey, you know, and that's because of the impedance of honey.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah. So let's finish this.
Voltage and sound pressure if you're going to be working in audio production. You can use this chart for reference. In the next video, we'll learn how to design.
Great. We're cool with decibels. I mean, this like little reference, you know, little memory of decibels is cool, and it's done. So yeah, tell me.
Sorry again about the name of decibels. You say he said about why it's called decibels, but I like missed.
Okay.
Why it's called?
Yeah, sure. There is a unit, Bratan, called bell unit.
Bell unit.
Like bell. Not let me know. It's actually like with 1 L, like bell. And it's a unit. Wow, I cannot answer Wikipedia. Like today, it's just like everything.
What the heck?
Yeah, it's just like
Everything is not working.
yeah, happens, man. Happens. Sometimes it happens. That's really amazing. I think it's because of my VPN. They don't like my VPN. I'm using my second VPN and yeah, connection reset. So I can see it on the Wayback Machine, I guess. I don't know if I'm gonna be successful at this. Wait, Bell Wiki. Yeah, I guess Encyclopedia Audio. A bell is a unit that just shows the relationship between two quantities. So a decibel is like a measurement of bells in a logarithmical scale that it's a 10 base logarithmic scale. Basically, we're gonna get into a complicated territory that we don't need to go. The point is that a bell is a unit designed to measure ratios of power, and a decibel is a measure that is based on the bell that is used to construct a unit that helps me to understand the difference between a reference value in audio and the actual value that I'm measuring right now. Like, I mean, I know I haven't answered your question, but you can also rewatch the video and see this explanation later.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Okay. We have kind of like 10 minutes to go, and it's a bit of a weird lecture how it all turned out to be. I'm sorry, I'm not happy about it, but it just like I had a bit of a rough day, apparently. I'm going to skip 1 second Dave Pensado, and I'm going to go to 1 second to Fab Dupont, because I really wanted to introduce this character. And that was the end. Today is the last like geek talk kind of conversation that we're going to have. And then we will go back to our usual materials when we come back from the break. So Fab Dupont is a producer that has, like, if you can see his kind of pedigree of work, like it includes Jennifer Lopez, Shakira, it includes. I love this album so much. By the way, do you know it, Vera? I see you moving your head at the door. I didn't know he produced it. Like, it's an amazing record. He has also done. I mean, many of these people here I don't know. The door. If you start getting closer to the present, I just didn't know he worked so much with the door. Andre 3000. Many of them I don't know. Susana Blanca, Snarky Poppy, the new Snarky Poppy album, by the way. And well, he has a whole bunch of Grammy nominations. And so yeah, definitely not a stupid guy. And so last week I introduced you to the Pensado's Place. And this week I'm introducing you to Pure Mix. So I am going to get my hands into a lot of Pure Mix videos, like, and I'm gonna put them to you on a some sort of like a YouTube, you know, not YouTube, but some sort of like playlist for you guys. And not YouTube, because they're not on YouTube. I'm gonna put them on a cloud and give them to you, basically. Da. I didn't know. Great. Like, I didn't know. So great. That's awesome. I mean, who is we? Like everybody, or so you discuss? I see. So you discuss with Ilya Pure Mix already, and you have access to it. So okay, I think that we need to. I mean, I think that. No. My opinion is that even if you are not, imagine that you're a student that is not paying for this. I think that we should just make this account available for everybody. Like whatever. Some students paid for it, some students didn't. Like the account is there anyways. Like it's not gonna change anything. Or maybe, I see a face there. Like, where's my 200 rubles? Like no. I mean, we can also ask for like, I mean, whatever, some donations for it or something. But this thing has to be access to everybody because this is a very special resource. So I'm sorry that I'm like double shitty lecture today. Like, it's like nothing is working. I didn't know that you had this conversation with Ilya. But let's have a listen to him a little bit. Wait, Pure Mix. Yeah, that's what I was planning to do. Okay, I will do it. I will do it like that. How to listen. So I wanted to listen to this video because this is important. This is super connected to, so yeah, how to listen. Yeah, I really wanted to see this for a moment and to meditate about this together with Fab Dupont.
In the spirit of trying to achieve what you hear is what you get, here's an interesting exercise. I'm going to play you two examples back to back. Example A and example B. Which one do you like best? Which one sounds better?
Get ready because we need
Which
to hear
one's
it
more
together.
your bag? Check it out. Here's A. Close your eyes. B.
Do you feel something or completely different?
Not really.
Online, no. I mean, the guys online say no because of the quality of the stream, right?
Maybe, I don't know, but
No. Here we hear it very clearly. Like, yeah. It's more colorful, Slava is saying.
can you
These
please make it once again?
Yeah, sure.
Two examples
Example
for
A.
thanks. Thanks.
Sure. Example A and example B. Wait. So here we go. It's Snow Patrol, by the way, I think. This band.
B.
Now, I'm suspecting that he's trying to
Yeah,
trick.
some kind of like lagging of stream. It doesn't give me like full.
Sure. If you
But
would be
I understood for a second, maybe.
now, I'm sure that he's trying to fuck around with us. Maybe my expectation, maybe we'll see. I'm trying to be a smartass here, but my expectation is that maybe he's gonna tell us like, "Aha!" But they were the same. It's just like the second one.
You fools!
It's the second one is louder. Maybe we will see. I'm. If I was right about that, then you should congratulate me. If I was wrong about that, you should not say anything.
B is more exciting, right? It's more in your face. It's more aggressive,
We agree.
right? Okay, now let's do something else. Let's go back to A, play that for a few bars, and then I'm going to do a new example called C. First A, then C. Here we go.
So I was wrong. So don't say anything.
C. Just for good measure, I'm going to do that again. I'm going to play A from where the synth comes in, listen to how it sounds. And then I'm going to play C in the same spot. Listen to the drums, bass drum, and the bass, and listen to the overall tone of the song. Here's A. Isn't that interesting? Obviously, C is crunchy, the bass goes away, the bass drum is pushed back, it doesn't sound so good. Now, the fun thing here is that B, which we liked a lot, and C, which we do not, is exactly the same thing, played at different levels.
Ah, so I was a bit right about something.
If I
he's
play
a
A and
fool.
then B, being the crush mix but loud, I like B. If I play A and C, which is the exact same crush mix but at the same level, I like A better. The moral of this story, because there is a moral to this story, is that whenever you're going to do anything, you got to match your levels. Because if you don't match your levels, you're fooling yourself.
So, I mean, you see, like we were fooled to think that something was worse just because it was quieter. So when you're comparing values, you know, or references or things, you obviously need to match them. So if not, you're going to think that something is worse. And that happens a lot with clients. That's why I send something called the mix loud. Like when I send mix to clients, I sometimes send like, here is my mix, and here is something that is called mix loud, which is the same mix, but it's just louder. And then the client, because the client usually goes and hears it like with a Spotify mix or master, and then they're like, the Spotify masters that I'm listening to, it's my reference, they sound better than my mix, than the mix that you send me, Leo. And it's like, yeah, because it's mastered, and mine is not. And so that one is louder, obviously. So whatever, this is just important.
Same thing as you fooling yourself with your eyes. Level will fool you into thinking that things are better. The louder, the better. That's the big lesson. So whenever you do compression, whenever you do drastic EQ, make sure that you listen pre and post at the same level. Otherwise, you're lying to yourself.
Okay, look, and then I'm going to pack in 4 minutes or 3 minutes a super important lesson that will make worth all this kind of like unsuccessful lecture as I feel it went. It will make it worth for you forever. Like just in 2 minutes, I will be able to do that. Because, and if you guys are there on your phones, like just go connect with me 1 second, because this is really important for all your life. It's going to change it forever. It's really important. When you're doing an audio process, this is really, really important. When you do an audio process, you need to, wait, let me just drop a compressor, EQ here. We haven't discussed compression in this course because it will be a big deal in the second semester. And guys, you have no idea how amazing it is that we're going to have in parallel развитие технического слуха and mixing and mastering. It's crazy. It's like a unique opportunity because I can spend all the time I have in the world talking to you about mixing, and then in here we discuss what a compressor is and all of that, and we don't have to mix these two things. In the past it was like that, and it's really terrible, and it's not like that. And the second thing that is great is that the next semester I need to teach the same thing for the DPO, and so it will be really great course. The mixing one will be a killer one, like I'm sure of that, because I have given to it 3 times, like it's ready, already developed, like it's going to be super cool. I'm really excited about this. So, okay, the piece of information that I'm going to pack to you in 2 minutes that is key for your development and that it will make this lecture worth it is this. Let's say that I'm EQing these beats. And then I do something like this. So I just made the whole thing louder. So, I mean, I made the whole thing louder by increasing the level of some part, and it was 6 decibels. So I doubled the intensity of the frequency 211 hertz. So part of the reason why my ears are telling me, that sounds better, is because loudness is like cocaine. I have told you this, like, or sugar, whatever you want to see it. So the more we have, it's like, we want more, like, you know. And so when you EQ something, you are going to have to use this little gain thing down here. I mean, it's not just like, yeah, I boosted this and that's it. You need to kind of like cut a little bit because the value A and B, they should sound equally loud. If not, you're just like feeding sugar to your brain. Literally. And you're just thinking that sounds better because it's louder, but it doesn't. It just like sounds better because, that sounds better, and you think that it's because of the change you did to equalization, but it doesn't. It's just like sounds better because it's louder. So when you do equalization, you should be able to switch it off and on, and then to see that the meter kind of doesn't changes here. And then you are in a territory when you can kind of like judge, like. So you see, when I have no EQ, it's not clipping. Let me just make a loop there. When I have no EQ, it's not clipping. When I switch on the EQ, it clips. So theoretically, I should just turn this down. There you go. So now I really made a change to this signal that is meaningful and that I can really compare with something else. Of course, then there is a fine balance to this. I mean, you need to find that fine balance. But what I just told you right now, it's a super, super important thing that people usually don't pay attention to at all. And that is especially important when you cut. You know, when you cut, what I'm telling you now, I use it more when I'm cutting than when I'm boosting. Because when I'm boosting, okay, I'm assuming that I'm going to make the whole thing louder. And that's what I'm doing. But when you're cutting, you really need to return some of that gain back. Were you doing this before? Were you using that gain thing there for this reason or for another reason? Just like for this reason. So you had this concept clear and it was clear to you, like to all of you?
No, it's not clear for me, but it's very useful. Thanks.
That's great. So Roma says no, and here I get some yes here, which is great. Like, that's really cool. So, I mean, if I can make you understand that in this lecture, and that was the only thing that you were going to understand in this lecture, if you already knew it, that's great. I mean, it was like, guys, let's talk about pure mix. We already know about this. Guys, let's talk about decibels. We already know about this. Guys, let's talk about, yeah. Yeah. Well, that means that you are learning something, which is a great news, for the course. So, okay. Yeah, unfortunately, this lecture went a bit south, but anyways, I think that it's always cool to meet together. There is something else that I put you here, and I really, please ask you to watch it. Really, very much ask you to watch it. It's a video of Fab Dupont cooking a ratatouille. Like, he actually made this. I mean, that's not the video that I want you to watch. I'm kidding, but I put it there as well. And I put it for a reason. Dupont cooking. Wait. So it's actually a live stream. It's like, you see, 1 hour and 57 minutes. And it's the whole...
But that's not what we're going to do today, because we're not that kind of girl. What we're going to do today...
So Andrew Schweppes joins the stream, like one of my favorite engineers. And so they go and they cook some meal together, and then he just like...
Months when the tomatoes have grown.
Okay.
And they just discuss all of this. Yeah.
Oh, so first... Thanks, Ravi.
Nice simmer.
Bye.
So you get the point. I mean, but that's not the video, of course, I wanted you to see. In Pure Mix, in the not paid version of it, there is this section called Mix Fix. So, and that is something I really, really would like you to watch, like during this break. Like, please. Let me see, Pure Fab Dupont Mix Fix. So, yeah. This is a 2-hour video, you see, and it's a live stream. And so they get mixes from the audience and they fix them. So it's like, this is what I hear that is bad.
Good afternoon.
By the way, that's Dark Fab Dupont. Yeah.
Welcome to Pure Mix's Mix Fix number, same number as last one, plus one. I think it's 6. Costume or not.
So you get the point. I mean, this is really, really great for you to kind of like train your ears and see. He uses different DAWs. Let's see, I want to hear his commentaries.
Massive Attack throwback. I love it. And I suspect that there's some poetry lost in translation from the session heading over. This is a session that Martin sent me this morning. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put mix up on. And I have Martin's mix on mix up. So we're going to be able to compare and make sure that oh, great. I forgot to log in. Decibel on. It doesn't sound crushed. It sounds fine. I just don't
I never seen this. It's
so that
meter. So anyways, I just want you to point out to this, like, please, I mean, if you want, just have a look and expand your horizons there. And so what's going to happen when we come back? The first lecture is about reverb. So we will be discussing like reverberations and delays, and I promise you a lot of like fresh new material, awesome material for the next semester. We are back on it's almost March, something like that. No, it's like after February 26th, so it's kind of like almost the first week of March. So we get a
Oh
beautiful
my god,
Yeah.
no.
yeah. Some other lectures will continue, some other stuff will continue, but this lecture in particular makes a pause. So yeah, have a nice break and do a lot of ear training. And I know that's what you're gonna do. And if you have any questions or comments, just write me. And yeah, thanks for coming. Yeah.
Thank you, Leo.
No,
It
I
was
saw your
very
message.
useful.
Paka, guys. Thank you. Sorry for the last. Well, the last lecture I was really happy, but today I was not. So I'm really angry about it.
No, it's very useful. I don't know why they're talking that there was information that they hear. I don't hear anything of it, so it was very useful for me.
I'm happy
Thank you
for
very
this,
much.
bro. I'm happy for this. I'm happy you were there. Thank you,
Bye-bye.
guys. So yeah, see you in a bit. Take care and write me if you need anything. Bye bye. Пока пока. Давай кофе купим. I'm desperate. Yeah, I have now foundation after you guys.
Сегодня? Но она не выходит, естественно, потому что вот все равно но что-то надо сделать. Hi Leo.
Hi, Bratan.
How are you, bratан?
Great. I think I'm sorry I haven't done the masters, but I'll do like really.
Oh, don't worry, man. Just do it when
I will.
it's cool for you.
It's a high priority.
We actually broke up with the band.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we spread.
Well, but you need to form the band with other people.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, you
Why-
have no,
like-
you need to make this.
That's the usual case with the band with
Yeah.
one album.
Yeah,
So we
no,
did
no,
one
no,
album
no,
and
No, but this is like your project. It's not the band,
yeah,
right?
kind of. I mean, the main thing was my rapping over the.
Yeah.
Instrument,
So
yeah,
just keep doing it.
Yeah,
right?
of course, of
You don't
course.
need to stop. Yeah.
I don't want to.
Yeah. No, you don't have to. You need to keep doing it. Yeah. Yeah, I get it. Well, yeah, that happens.
So that's okay. You don't have deadline and something.
I want to do it anyways. I just don't like because then things get stuck for months, and I don't like to do that. Bye. Thank you. See you soon. Привет. Привет, Маша. Да, все. У меня есть 20 минут сейчас, и я хотела видеть с тобой. Слушай, вечером как будто мне нужно помогать Ане. Типа, мне нужно будет на место, бла-бла-бла, и как будто не могу, да. Да. Хорошо. Да. Хорошо. Давай. Я буду там